Hi, everybody. I'm live. I'm returned back to fucking do another Bond um, review with spoilers. And it's the Living Daylights. Whoa, oh. Living Daylights. But yeah, great film, though. I need a bit of a drink, though, because I just been watching it and I know got me stream started when I said it's going to start anyway. Took fucking wood. But yeah, Living Daylights, great film. Timothy Dalton, first out as James Bond, the T-Doll. And pretty good performance in that as Bond. More a serious Bond compared to Roger Moore. A little bit more comedy than the Sean Connery early Bonds, but a bit more serious than the later Sean Connery Bonds. Some people don't like Timothy Dalton's James Bond because it is more realistic. Where I'm not, I say realistic compared to the Roger Moore, but I love the Roger Moore ones. So, but yeah, they stopped going a bit too crazy in that. Where they tried to get it more serious. Great film, though. Great film. One of them ones that I didn't remember much of it, and I definitely fucking was never sure much on the plot line. All I just remember about Living Daylights is the beginning bit. Yeah, yeah, pop culture creator. Saying hail, sir, and that, yeah. Right, pop culture creator. Yeah, just saying Living Daylights, man. The beginning bit I remember because it is a fucking great sort of like fucking bit with the SAS and oh, the double O agents having to like take on the SAS in a like practice operations sort of thing because they're using paint guns instead of like real bullets, but like they do with the I forget what the call, but they just practice fucking training exercises. But yeah, great film though. I'll have to get the thumbnail up because thumbnail again, pretty good because it's got like most of the film, well, not most of, but some of the film things in it. So yeah, it's like seeing fucking what you're gonna get in the film. Because it's fucking terrible when someone does a thumbnail, a poster, and it's got things that are not in the film. And so when you watch it, it's like, well, that wasn't in the film. Why is it in the poster? But yeah, share this. Um, Pop culture creators saying, "Do you like the Pink Panther movies or Get Smart?" Yeah. The Pink Panther movies are really good. The Peter Sellers ones. I didn't see the remake with Steve. Oh, well, anyway, it ain't gonna beat the Peter Sellers one. Because when Steve Martin, that was it. He also did Bilko, but well, yeah, Get Smart was all right sort of thing. They're more comedies, or I also like the Austin Powers. Yeah, baby, yeah, they're all good and all. That's why I think like Living Daylights and that try to get a bit more serious, even though Austin Powers, yeah, didn't fucking come out before the Living Daylights, but they used to want people to take the piss out of it, so they try to get a bit more serious. But yeah, the remakes suck. Yeah. Yeah, here we go. Let's share this. Because yeah, I think this was a pretty popular fucking um, front sort of poster. Where fucking real good fucking. It's probably is one of the best fucking Bond posters because you got Bond in the middle, and then fucking the gun barrel around it, and that with like what happens sort of thing where fucking there's where they're like skydiving into Gibraltar, even though they don't use a fucking smoke flare, but could be like missiles or whatever. Yeah, there's the oh, what's he called? He's the American actor in this. Yeah, he's called Whitaker, Brad Whitaker. Yeah, and then yeah, he's got like the Mahad Majin in it. That fuck happens. Got the car with the fucking missiles that come out. Even though in this picture it's wrong because he doesn't use the sort of like ski things until his front wheel has come off, and he used the missiles before he uses the ski thing. So fucking that picture is showing like two things the car does, but it doesn't do it at the same time. And like, yeah, fucking the bridge thing and fucking Harrier jets and that. Yeah, real good fucking and like armored sort of. They're not tanks, but the vehicle, they're armored vehicles anyway, with like turret machine guns on the top. And the Bond bed, even though this is another thing where she's never in a pose where she's got a rifle and that in a white dress. I think, there's a bit where she is in a white dress. I'm not exactly sure, but if it's white, but I know it's definitely a dress. And there's a bit where she's got the rifle, but not like that. But real good art though, real good fucking thing. And yeah, the Living Daylight sort of thing, done like quite good in that. Yeah, so real good fucking poster for a Bond film. Oh, pop culture is not a fan of Austin Powers. Oh, Austin Powers is real good. He's funny and all. It's one of them where it does a parody to the Bond films, but it does it real good and that. And so, like, you can tell fucking Mike Myers or Rick the Austin Powers and that fucking loved his Bond films and that because he fucking knows how to, like, fucking take a bit of a parody sort of fucking take on it and that. Real good. Yeah, I like them. Yeah. Yeah. Have a look at the cast. Let's get the cast up because yeah, the cast is pretty good cast and that. Um, I should have fucking done this before. Living daylights. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Um, yeah. But Bob Cook says, I couldn't make it through the first movie. Yeah. Oh, well, it is crazy. It really goes on a parody sort of fucking. It tries to keep it fucking quite um, realistic plot lines, but obviously it's so much of a parody in that like it does go crazy. But yeah, it's the cast. Share screen. Yeah, so Timothy Dalton, the T doll, as okay, fair to on that, and Mariam Delabo, Delabo, Delabio plays Cara Illinois, and Jiron Cabby, Gar, Gabby, um, General Jojo. Um, it looks like Cabby, but it's Costco. So, but yeah, and then his henchman Andrews Winningsky as fucking Nikos, but you don't really hear his name. And then Joe Don Baker as Brad Whitaker. Yeah, he um unless it's someone who looks like him, but I'll fucking be checking it when I see it. I can't remember which Pierce Brosnan film it is. It's not Goldeneye, but he stars in one of the Pierce Brosnan Bond films, but not as Brad Whitaker. Then Desmond Llewellyn as Q, Caroline Bliss as Miss Moneypenny. Yeah, because they'd like changed the Miss Moneypenny. Um, Robert Brown as John Reyes Davis as General Pushkin. Art Belkey as Kaman uh, Kamaran Shara, who plays like what are the fucking Mudaf Madi, whatever and Jeffrey Keane as Sir Frederick, the defence minister, and Thomas Wesley as Saunders, who's like Bond's connection, who he talks to and that. Belly Harry as Linda, Virginia Hayes Rubber Witch, who I think she gets her tits out. You proper see some fucking nipple in this. How I took a screenshot, but I've had to like blank it out, you know, because I thought, oh yeah, I don't think I can. I know I can get away with showing side tit because fucking when you wear a bikini or one of them dresses and that women show side tit. But I know you can't show nipples, so I had to like edit it out. But Kathleen Rabbit as Liz, Dulcie Lisa as Ava, John Terry as Felix Leiter, because yeah, there's no Felix Leiter. Carl Rigg as the imposter, who he's at the beginning, who's taking out all these double O agents and that. And then Walter Gottel as General Gogol. Nadine Shuala as Tiger Chief. He was like the leader. Julie T. Walters as Ruskina Belkos. She plays a bit of a comedy part because she used to do British TV and that, and so she knows sort of like comedy sort of thing and that. Come on, I don't know why it's got Tony Carreras with a picture of Chevy Chase, but yeah, Ben Wilson as Blendon Butler, who's like a butler. Frederick Wadder as a 004 because yeah, he's fucking like trying to infiltrate with Bond because like 300 agents get sent. It's real good. And Ken Sherrock as the jailer, and Peter Porterus as gas worker, and that. Yeah, Tony Krause, who looks like Chevy Chase, looks like it, but anyway, as the chief of sorry, yeah, and Terry Ospley, Leslie Frank, Anthony Carrick, yeah. There's no actors in that. Yeah, he's like played all bit parts in that. Bit too many to like read out, but yeah, good list in that. Fucking Metacritic, you fuck off. Is it's more than like 59%, but don't believe that shit. It's probably because Timothy Dalton. It'd be one of them like Bond fans don't like Timothy Dalton because they think, oh yeah, he wasn't that good of a Bond compared to Roger Moore. And then people who don't like Bond films will be like, but anyway, yeah, good film though, good film. I say, fucking. All right, yeah. Son of a red shirt, right? Yeah. Says, hey pal, how's it going? Yeah, all right. Just watched the Living Daylights, and then it says, time to review Timothy Dalton's first James Bond. Yeah, and George Lucas, cheers man, with that watching. And so Richard says, I like Joe Don Baker from Charlie Varick, the Walter Matthew film from the early 70s. It was also great in The Natural. Right. I'll check it out. And Joe Don Baker also started the Walking Tall franchise that was later taken over both by Kevin Sambo and The Rock. Or Sobo and The Rock. Right. Right. Now I know what you mean then, yeah. Because I've seen the film of the Rock's version, and I think a little bit of the Kevin Sambo, but I've definitely seen the Rock's version of Walking Tall, and that way he's like a sheriff in he that starts to clean up the town sort of thing. But yeah, the Rock version was all right. But yeah, here we go, though. Let's get on to the fucking spoilers so you can see a bit of tit. Well, you would have done it if I didn't fucking figured, because I'm not showing nipple, because I know it'd be definite. Well, I got a fucking um, video restricted to an 18, and I covered up the nipple, but it was like a page 3 sort of, or a centerfold sort of position, so they could have done me for the sexual content, where this in sexual is she's just like, but anyway, let me get the fucking. There we go. Where is it? Living Daylights. Yeah. Yeah. Gotta share this. Uh, and yeah, that's right. A former wrestler turned sheriff. Right, yeah. Yeah, right. So yeah. Starts off with United Arts and that. And then it goes to the Bond gun barrel scene where it's Timothy Dalton doing it. And then you see where M is, well, you see where there's a Gibraltar, so what the at Gibraltar, and you see M, and he's talking about there's an exercise mission that they're going to infiltrate the Gibraltar's communication sort of tower sort of thing, and that. So they're in a plane and that, and then they jump out of the plane and like skydive to this community. Well, they don't skydive to the skydive and land around it, you know. So then they can infiltrate it, and there's like SAS guards like patrolling this like communications place, and they've all got like paint guns and that's because it's only a like training mission and that. So you like see the like 3 parachutists sort of like land and that, and then one gets took out and that by a paint gun and that. It's like, oh yeah, you're dead, mate. And like, oh shit, you know, because he knows, oh yeah, he fucks up, so he's out. Well, you see this dude watching like the abseilers and that, and he's sort of like fucking is like a sort of infiltrator and that who's killing the like double O agents and that, because like one of the SAS dudes shoot him because they think he's a double O agent and that, so they shoot him with a paint gun, and like they're all like, "Oh yeah, you're dead, mate," but he just turns around and shoots him and that, and then fucking he like cuts the rope of an OO agent who was climbing up and that. And it's all like screams and that. And then Bond, he hears like him screaming. He knows all he has only a training mission, so fucking you shouldn't be fucking hearing people scream and that. So he has a look. He sees like the ropes being cut and that. He sees like the dead soldier that he shot, like a fucking monkey because they're on the Gibraltar Rock, sort of fucking flies and scares him and that. But then the dude gets into a fucking Jeep and that and drives off where Bond sort of like runs, sees him in the Jeep sort of thing and that. Then like real good stunt bit where he like jumps on top of the Jeep and that. And this bit is a really good fucking intro and that where proper action where fucking the dude's just driving off and that. But he gets to a point where fucking they crash through some barriers. And one dude tries shooting him with some paint gun bullets, but that's fucking he doesn't stop and that. So the other dude comes out, shoots real bullets and that, and he fucking sets fire to the back of his truck and that, where it fucking is getting like set on fire and that. And so Bond, he fucking cuts through the roof because it's only like canvassed. Gets like an attack on the dude and that shit. And there's a bit of a fucking fight going on and that. Fucking like miss some people and that. Fucking Bond head butts in it. Fucking good fight scene and that. Well, fucking it gets to a stage where they just fucking drive off the fucking road and it's a big fucking drop and that because big high up cliffs and that shit. Well, Bond pulls his parachute and gets out of there, sort of thing, because the parachute pulls him out, and that where the dude he carries on, but the fucking Jeep explodes and that. Where then like Bond parachutes on top of a fucking ship or a yacht that's just out there with a bed on, complaining she can't find any blokes, and Bond. And she's like, oh, you. And Bond's like, oh, Bond. And that's James Bond. And he gets like a phone. He's like, oh, yeah, can I use it? And he phones up headquarters and that. And he's like, oh, yeah, there's been trouble in that. I'll be back in headquarters. Give me an hour. Well, give me 1 hour. Well, she's like, oh, do you want a drink in that? And he's like, oh, give me 2. And then, yeah, first shag on the way, Timothy Dalton. It's only a 2 shagger, but he gets his first shagging before the credits. So you don't see him shag, obviously. You don't even see him kiss, but you know because he's had to take that extra 2 hours or that extra hour from 1 hour to 2 hours. That yeah, he's had a shag. So yeah. Yeah, it's only a 2 shagger this and all because Timothy Dalton, but it's his first one though. And it goes into the Living Daylight sort of thing with Aha, which all right song, not too bad, not the greatest, but still pretty good. Better than the later ones and that. Yeah, I think he went a bit sort of downhill after like Goldeneye. After Tina Turner, it was like, but well, then it's in Bratislava in Czechoslovakia where you see Bond. He's at like this fucking opera sort of thing where he's on a mission to fucking get a KGB defector who he's talking to his contact and that, and he sees like who he's got to get out, who's like in the middle of the two KGB agents and that, because he's like a KGB strategist and that. So he's like really sort of like wanted by the KGB and that. Well, then Bond checks out like the bird who's playing the cello, and then the contacts all like, keep your mind off the women for once, Bond. We're on a mission and that. He gets real ass with him. Well, anyway, Bond's like, yeah, all right then. Well, let's go, sort of thing, because they go to like this room and that where Bond gets a fucking gun and that to make sure fucking, well, where's that gun picture? I think, yeah, there's a gun picture. Yeah, he gets like a gun and that to like fucking give the Russian defector who's called Koskov cover for when he's escaping, because the plan is at the interval, Koskov goes to the toilet, climbs out the window, and just sort of like runs from the opera place to the hotel sort of place, which is about 100 yards, but he's told the British sort of agency that the snipers on him and that, so he needs cover protection, and he wants James Bond because James Bond's the best. Wait. Bond gets his gun and that shit. Fucking, and like sees there's a sniper bird. Well, I don't know what Bond sees, that she's a bit of an amateur. Maybe it's because she's like fucking. He saw her earlier on playing the cello. I don't know, but anyway, he knows like she's not fucking. Maybe it's the way she's holding it with her shoulder, and she hasn't got no fucking rest, and it's like, oh yeah, if you're a female like that, to get a good shot, you need to have it rested and that. And maybe he knows, oh yeah, which is unprofessional. Well, Bond definitely knows that she's not a professional fucking sniper. So he fucking shoots the like barrel of her gun, which fucking makes her shit it. Which later on he's like laughing about it, saying, "Oh yeah, it must have scared the living daylights out of her." Where, whoa, living daylights. They didn't have that music accompanying it, but it was one of them where, oh yeah, mentioned the film name in it. Well, they get like Costco and that into a car where they were going to put him in the boat, but Bond's like, no, fucking, you ride up front, and that we've got a plan to get you out, and he gives the gun to fucking his contact, not Smith. Yes, it's Smithers. I think it's Smithers or something like that. or Sanders or something like that. But anyway, Bond drives off in that with Koskov, and like tells him, "Oh yeah, fucking, we've got a plan to get you out of like Czechoslovakia to Britain, sort of thing." So anyway, they go to this Trans-Siberian pipeline where Russia's got a pipeline into Europe and that, where they get to the pipeline place, get let in by an agent who's working for them and that. Oh, fucking, she like lets them in, and Koskov, he's a bit unsure about this and that, but Bond like just says, "Oh, get in, or else fucking stay here." But he says like you'll be all right. He reassures him. Well, anyway, they bang him in there, fucking, and like set him off down the pipeline and that. Where she goes and fucking starts rubbing the like control desk dude's face in her tits, so he don't see like the energy fucking lights going off. And then she sort of like gives the thumbs up to Bond and that. And then she like fucking bit of a comedy moment where she like stops and then says, "Oh, I'm not that sort of girl," and that sort of shit. Well, then you see fucking Koskov get like delivered to Austria, pipeline sort of thing, goes to Austria, where he gets out and Q's there that they put him. Oh well, yeah, they put him up into a Harrier in that, where Bond's like fucking talking to his friend and that, and his friend's the contact was giving him shit because he didn't shoot the female assassin, but Bond's all like, "She wasn't a professional. I only kill professionals." And yeah, then Koskov gets put in Harrier to go to Britain and that. And Bond goes through the fucking border, Austria, Czechoslovakia, Austrian border, and that, and he was out there, so they let him through. Where he's at Q with talking to Q, looking for this Russian sniper, where you see Miss Moneypenny comes across and that. And she's all like, "Oh yeah," and Bond smoking a cig and all. So it was one of them where I thought, "Oh yeah, we'll get Bond to smoke a cig before fucking the ban smoking in buildings." But anyway, yeah. Hughes looks at all the like female Russian hit women sort of thing, assassins and that, and none of them are the one who had the rifle and that. So like, yeah. Then you see the ghetto blaster that just fires a fucking missile out and that, and kills rail chuffed because he's like, "Oh yeah, the Americans wanted this." This is like 87. 1987. So yeah, they were real big them days. Yeah. And then you see like fucking this dude jogging who hits this milkman and that, and he's all like, "Oh, sorry, mate." Well, in fact, he does an American. He's like, "Hey, sorry, pal," and the milkman's like, "Oh, fucking Americans." Well, anyway, the dude kills the milkman and that by like fucking getting his fucking headphone wires around his neck, and there must be reinforced headphone wires. They're probably even not headphone wires. They're just fucking wires to make it look like headphones because like he chokes him out and that kills him. And then you see Bond fucking turning up to the fucking sort of stables and that where he gets sort of like padded down for his gun. Well, the got like a rake that's fucking a metal detector sort of thing. And he goes in, and that with a hamper because the Russian defector in that wanted some food and that, and so he got them like some food where he talks to like M and that, and this is where it gets a little bit complicated because this is where fucking because I've only seen I think Living Daylights probably about 2 or 3 times maybe, and there was quite a few years ago, sort of thing, in between. So, like, but here's where I had to like start concentrating because Koskov tells M and that Pushkin owes the new KGB um, general who's replaced Gorgov, who used to be the head KGB general. Well, now it's Pushkin who's the head KGB general. And Koskov tells M and the defense minister that Pushkin's trying to do arms deals to set off a World War III sort of scenario. Well, M sort of believes Pushkin, I mean Koskov, because like he's real sort of like charming and that, and he's quite convincing, and he's really sort of plays a good part of fucking being one of these cunts, but don't sort of like act too much of a cunt. They act real nice and that, but they are a bit of a cunt because he's setting up Bond, but obviously Bond doesn't know this at the time, but he's telling Emin that Pushkin needs to be killed or taken out before he starts World War III. So M believes Koskov, and he wants Bond to kill or take out this Pushkin. Well, Bond knows this Pushkin dude, and he's not too convinced that this Pushkin dude's crazy enough to start World War III. But M says, "Well, if you don't take the job, I'll just get another OO agent to take it." So Bond's like, "All right, then I'll take the job," sort of thing. Well, then he goes. You see, like, oh, shit, yeah. Oh, I didn't get the picture, but yeah. Um, I should have though. I don't. I don't know why. But anyway, um, Bond goes to Q and that, and I'll have to fucking put this sort of picture up, sort of thing. Well, yeah, Bond goes to Q, and Q gives Bond a key sort of chain that's like one of them whistling key chains back in the 80s that you fucking find when you lose your keys. Well, Q tells Bond, like, oh, yeah, if you whistle certain ways, one of them's the beginning bars to Rule Britannia, it can explode or do a gas sort of bomb thing that can like fuck people up. And then Miss Moneypenny, she finds a picture and that of the cello player woman who fucking Bond's like, oh yeah, that's her and that because he told her to have a look at cello players and that. Well, well, yeah. Then you see like fucking the like dude who killed the milkman, pretending to be the milkman to get into the place where Bond's at, like this fucking horse stable place. Like, well, he beats up the butler and that. Pretty good fight and that shit. I think it was one of them where it was like, right, we want the bad dude to fucking really show like he can fight and that. And he's fucking good enough to beat up Bond and that. So yeah, he has a fight with the butler, and the butler gets his ass whipped in that. Pretty good fucking fight though, because I think the butler's probably the stunt man and all. Who said to him like, right, you say a few words and that, and then get your ass kicked by this dude. Because you fucking real good fight scene. I was like, wait, when you see it, it's like, oh yeah, he he's no fucking Robert Patterson. But anyway, yeah. Well, he radios in saying, "Oh yeah, there's a fire in that, escape, evacuate the building and that." So fucking he like goes through to this room where he starts throwing milk bottles that like explode. Looks a bit corny, but if you fucking put some explosive stuff in a milk bottle and you just fucking made it look like a milk bottle and fucking started throwing them, you know, it fucking explodes and that. So yeah, fucking everything's fucking getting exploded. He's taking out quite a few fucking. They say like he kills about two fucking injures, or I think he kills about four, injures two, and then seriously injures another four. Well, anyway, he goes in and gets fucking um, Koskov, who fucking like is in the room and that, and he gets like the tapes and everything that Kofkov's been saying and that. Then he fucking knocks him out, sort of thing. Pretends he's a doctor by putting on a fucking stethoscope that you know you listen to people's hearts with and that, and like gets out of there, sort of thing, in an helicopter. Don't know if the team, I think they provide the helicopter, or if he just hijacks the helicopter after they get out of there. But anyway, he gets out of there, and then fucking M's sort of like, oh fucking hell, what's happened? Fuck. We've only had him for like fucking 24 hours, and the fucking KGB's got him back, sort of thing, and that. And he's like telling Bond and that, oh yeah, fucking. The fucking KGB's got Koskov back. And fucking gives him a also like a tag thing that was left on one of the it was Bavaria, something like that. But it's Russian, and it was some battle you find out. Like I'm not exactly quite sure what all that was to do. It was just one of them calling cards that like this dude leaves. I think just maybe it was a plot line to do another fucking like Spectre or something. That was gonna call it like, but I don't know. But anyway, Bond gets like a fucking envelope saying, "Oh yeah, go kill Pushkin and that." Yeah, there's sort of like the tag thing with the. Well, but yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, here we go. I must have a bit misread. Yeah, I put that bit in. But anyway, yeah. Then Q gives Bond the key finder thing, and yeah, here's Miss Moneypenny. Yeah, she finds fucking the bed who he's looking for because she's a cello player, but she's not a famous one, so it was quite hard to find her. Well, anyway, Bond sort of like knows whereabouts she is in that, which sort of city she's in. So he goes and he sees her sort of like fucking playing the cello and that, where he sort of like follows her sort of thing and that, where she's on a fucking tram and that with a cello case, where she fucking gets like arrested by the KGB, but she leaves the cello on the tram, where Bond fucking like gets their fucking cello and that, and he goes into like a toilet where the stop off is sort of thing, checks their case and that, and sees like it is there because the rifle that he shot is there, and he checked the bullets and there was blanks. So he then sees her address and name and everything. So then he like goes to her house sort of thing where she's been let out a day later sort of thing, and he sees her going in, so like he follows her in and that, gives her a cello case back, tells her like he'd fucking thrown the rifle in the river and that, and then says, "Oh yeah, there were blank bullets and that," and she tells him sort of like, "Oh yeah, um, she's Koff's sort of girlfriend and that," and or Koskov's girlfriend, and Bond sort of tells her that he's Koff's sort of mate, and he's here to help her sort of fucking defect and all. So she's like, "All right," and then Bond's like, "Yeah, but we got to go to Vienna first, because that's where fucking." He says, "Oh, we're gonna meet up with Koskov." Well, anyway, this is a pretty good bit in that where they get in the car and that, but she's forgot a cello is somewhere, so they have to stop off for it. Where there's a bit of a funny bit where Bond's like, "Oh no, just leave it, just leave it. We'll get even a one, but it's a real expensive one." And as a musician, I can understand where if you've got an instrument you're used to playing, you do really want that instrument because you're used to playing it, and so you know, and you find out later on it's probably sentimental value because Koskov bought her it. But anyway, they go back for it and that. Well, there's a dude watching them and that, but they like put the fucking cello case and the coat over it and that, and make it look like she's phoning it. Well, anyway, bit corny, but they get driving and that, and Bond's got like a police scanner in his car because this car's fucking gadgeted to fuck and that. Well, it was one of them where it was like, right, we need to give Bond a real good fucking car. Sean Connery had one. Roger Moore had one. Lazenby didn't really have much of a gadget car, but he did have a good car. But anyway, they made sure fucking Timothy Dalton had a real good fucking gadget car. So the air on the scanners that they're looking for fucking a dude in a bed and carrying a cello case and that. So they know, oh yeah, it's them they're after. Well, oh fuck, yeah, yeah, I think, yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, cops sort of like see him and that and try and pull him over, but Bond gets out his gadgets where it's a fucking laser fucking in the sort of like center fucking nut wheel arch that fucking has a laser. Obviously, it's just an LCD light that the fucking superimposed a laser fucking beam, which fucking looks good though when you see it, because the laser beam starts to cut up the fucking cop car and that shit. That fucking when it breaks, it just like falls off. Now, I'm not exactly a fucking great mechanic, but I'm sure though that if you just cut the bottom of a fucking car and it breaks, I'm sure it just won't fly off that cleanly. But in this, it does, and that's. I don't know why you just didn't do the tires in, but anyway, it's a Bond film. They're gonna go big or go home. Well, this fucking car scene though is fucking good. As I say, I don't know how fucking Mercury's fucking 5.9. It's a good 7.9 at least. Just for all the crazy stunts and fucking shit goes on, but yeah, well, then fucking comes up to where they got like fucking a roadblock and that, and the proper like fucking guards and that. Well, Bond like fucking uses his missiles that you see in the poster and that way. He just fucking blows up the fucking van and that, and then just drives through it. Then there's a bit where he goes into a fucking hut thing on this ice pond that's like frozen up and that, and fucking the Russian sort of soldiers are like shooting fucking mortars and that, and it's exploding. Well, Bond sort of like fucking says, "Oh, it's time to get out." Bangs it in the higher gear and fucking just gets out of the fucking shed before it proper gets fucking took out by a mortar and that. Well, then one of his wheels gets fucking took out by a mortar because it shoots real close. Where really fucking corny bit in that, where he starts to drive on the ice in a circle sort of thing, where this cop car's coming. That when he gets it, it just sinks down because he's and you can clearly tell that them rims would not have gone that deep, but it's a Bond film and that. And then like because he's from Wheels fucked, he puts on like the ski things and he gets like spikes in his back tires and he like zooms off and then there's a fucking railgun bit where fucking he's getting chased by fucking soldiers and that, and he fucking puts a jet thing like Batman, like the Batmobile, which he fucking goes up a ramp and that where the soldiers are, where the fucking dive off, and it's a proper good stunt where it's 80s and that, and so they had to do it. It's rather well, you either do a miniature or you get some dude in a car to do it. Either way, that's the only way it's going to be done. So they did it really for real and that, and it fucking like lands on the other side and that, and then the other car tries it, but it fucks up and that. Then they sort of like fucking get a bit fucked up because they're going down real fast and that, and so they have to get out because it's the snow's too thick in that. And so a bit of a corny bit here where it's a Bond film though. They get in the like cello case and just ski down the fucking mountain and that where they're getting chased by fucking like Russian soldiers with AKs and that. But because it's so steep and that, and the fucking cello case is so slippery, it's going so fast that they get to the border where fucking they show the passport and just go through the like Austrian border, and that's when like the Russians have to stop because they're in Austria. Then it goes to Tanzania, where you see these people spying on. Well, it's Phoenix later, but you don't know this at the time. Oh, uh, Well, yeah, yeah. You see, like Felix Light and Spider, but you don't know. But anyway, oh fuck. Yeah. Well, anyway, it's Pushkin, the new fucking KGB sort of general and that, who's talking to this Brad Whitaker, who's doing an arms deal and that, and like we go in and that, and talking about the arms deal and fucking um, Pushkin, who's fucking got like the money for these arms, says like this deal's a bit dodgy and that shit, and he's wanting to pull out because fucking it, you find this later on, but Pushkin is investigating sort of like Koskov because he knows like doing a few dodgy dealings with like Russian KGB money and that, and because he knows like Koskov is up to something, he he's been looking at this Brad Whitaker's sort of account, and he's noticed that this Brad Whitaker hasn't bought any arms and that. He's still got the money in his bank, so it's a bit complicated. Like, so Pushkin, because he's thinking, oh yeah, you haven't bought any arms in that, but I'm supposed to be buying off you, because he's like shows him like his room and that, where he's got all these toy soldiers, where Captain Cockney would have loved this room. I think Captain Mighty Spock is trying to get a room like this, but yeah, shows him all like the guns and that, but he's like no, because it's all like new weaponry and that, but because like he hasn't bought any, he doesn't think he's gonna buy any, and so he wants the money back, sort of thing, because it's like 50 million, and he wants it back in 2 days. So fucking the Brad Whitaker dude like doesn't he doesn't want to give him it in that, because it turns out like he got expelled from the army for cheating. I don't know exactly what cheating he did. It could have been on his test score or whatever, but he was cheating at somewhat, and he got expelled from the army, and he's knows like, oh yeah, you doing dodgy dealings with fucking like corrupt sort of fucking people and that. Uh, you're a bit shady. I want me sort of money back. And he's a bit of an egotistic sort of person, because he's got like statues of himself as like Caesar and Genghis Khan and other sort of like war sort of like fucking um, leaders and all that shit sort of thing, or had armies and that, because he's well into his army strategy, because he's got like his like toy soldiers like he fucking as in battle formations and that. And Pushkin thinks he's a bit fucking too dodgy, and so he wants the money back. Well, he says like in 2 days, and Whitaker sort of like can't say out because he don't want to offend the KGB by telling them to fuck off, but he doesn't want to promise the money back and that, and so it's one of them where he just leaves the question open, sort of thing. And then you see like Bond, who's got a lift into town from a like greengrocer, sort of cabbage seller, farmer, and that. And go into like the hotel and that, and fucking book some tickets and that. Well, go get on a horse ride first, before they get to the book the tickets. Where she tells Bond that she owes Koskov everything in that, because he bought her a fucking cello and that. Then Bond orders like 2 tickets and that to fucking the opera, buys her a dress and all. And fucking gets sort of like to the opera and that. But then, yeah, he goes to see what we see. Cough, cough. Koskov. He's sort of like chilling out with some women in that, in the fucking hotel, in his sort of like, oh, if in it is, it's no, it's thing is Brad Whitaker's garden. So he's chilling out in Brad Whitaker's sort of garden pool and that, where fucking Brad Whitaker wants to talk to him, where he's all like, oh yeah, tells his, I think it's Nico, whatever his name is, like, oh yeah, we're wanted and that. And then Brad Whitaker's eating some lobster and that, where he tells fucking Koskov that fucking Bond, or no, tells Koskov that Pushkin wants the money back and that, where Koskov tells fucking Whitaker that Bond's gonna fucking kill Pushkin because he's told him that he's gonna start a third world war. Where then like Brad Whitaker sort of fucking says like, oh yeah, if you don't fucking, if Bond doesn't kill Pushkin, then you've got to fucking kill him, or your mate anyway. But you've got to sort it out. Well then, like fucking, yeah, Bond found out like, yeah, the cello was bought for her because he got his contact mate who's like his contact there who finds out that Brad Whitaker bought the cello for Koskov to give to his missus or his girlfriend. Where fucking like Bond knows like, oh well, there's a bit of a connection going there, and so he's like a bit wondering. Oh no, yeah, this is where he asks him to find out about this, but yeah. Anyway, then Bond goes to the fair and that, and they're on a fucking big wheel and that shit, and fucking could have got a shag, but might not have. Maybe just a like kiss and a cuddle. But he sort of like tells her like, oh yeah, he finds her attractive and that and all that shit. Then his mate's waiting for him because he's found out like who bought the cello. Where he tells Bond like, oh yeah, it was Brad Whitaker and that. And I should have got a screenshot of this, but I missed it. But it's a bit corny. But as he's going out of the doors, the sliding doors like kills him because Koskov's hitman dude, his henchman, set a bomb thing that just blew the fucking like oh, what's it called? Shit. Hydronics, yeah. It like blew the hydronic system that just pushed him and crushed him and that. And then Bond sort of like tells she tells Bond that Brad Whitaker was going to help her because Bond's sort of like says like, oh yeah, fucking about is Brad Whitaker who he knows bought the cello for and that, and so yeah, she admits like she knows him. Then Bond where it's oh, yeah, a bit complicated that bit. Where am I up to? So the red chat says, I think Captain Cockney would more than love that room. I think that is Captain Cockney's room. Lol. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, fucking. You want to see it later on, and that way he's fucking got like explosions and big setups, so like loads of fucking sound surround of fucking like what, so it's like being on a war battlefield and that. Yeah. Anyway, then Bond, he like goes and sees Pushkin's bed. Oh, he sees like, oh yeah, she's fucking like with him in that because he gets into the car and she like goes into this hotel room. Where then later on, you see Pushkin, who's the KGB general leader and his KGB operative agent sort of thing, like outside a room where he goes in and that, and his agent stays outside. Where as he walks in, he sees like she's a bit sort of like nervous and that, and he asks her like what's wrong and that, but then Bond's like behind the door, pulls a gun on him, and like says, "Oh yeah," sort of like sit down sort of shit. Well, this is the bit where the tit fucking comes out. We're like, what the fuck? Well, anyway, Bond sort of like puts him on the bed sort of thing and starts to like talk about fucking what was it? But some war, Scarothy or something like that. Tells him to like sit on the bed sort of thing and that. Well, as he's talking, he presses his watch that alerts the guard who's outside. Oh, when he comes in, he sees Pushkin's bed with the top off and that, where he's a bit stunned and that, and Bond just slams the door in him like fucking whip lashing the back of his head with his pistol, whips him, and then and starts talking to Pushkin about him being sent to kill him, and he has to die, and that where Pushkin says, yeah, he admits, yeah, he does have to die because until Pushkin dies, he doesn't know what Koskov's plan is. So he like shoots fucking Koskov when he's at like this presentation sort of conference and that, where the thing is, Koskov's agent was going to shoot him, but Bond shoots him, and then Koskov's henchmen fucking tears and sees Bond and that, where Bond sort of like shoots the light out and that, then like escapes off the roof and that, where this is a bit of a good moment, a bit of a comedy bit here, where he jumps on this television aerial wire where he bends down, lands on the roof or like a few streets or sort of like street width away and that, and then lets go of the fucking TV aerial that slams into the guard that's like chasing after him and that, and like yeah, runs off fucking getting chased and that. Fucking but makes it out and that, like, and then you see Pushkin, who's fucking alive because he's wearing a bulletproof vest with blood packs that he's like shot, and so it looked like he was dead, but No, and he's like, oh yeah, the only time I'm glad that Bond's a good shot. And then Bond gets like a lift with these two women and that, or like, oh yeah, where you going, sort of thing. Then one of them pulls a gun on Bond and that, and says, oh yeah, fucking, like, gives you a gun and all that shit. Where it takes it to Felix Leiter, where Felix Leiter's sort of fucking asking Bond if he's starting a third world war because he's just shot the top KGB fucking general and that. But then Bond like tells him like, "Oh no, we're just doing it to fucking get Koskov to do whatever he's gonna do." Well, then it goes to Whitaker's place where Whitaker's talking to his henchman who tells him that he didn't shoot um, Pushkin. He fucking was there and saw Bond shoot Pushkin, where then Kofkov gets real chuffed because he's like, ah, yeah, the plan works. I've told you, fucking, the British believe me and they'd shoot or kill General Pushkin and that. Well, Whitaker, he's sort of like, right, well, then we can get the diamonds now because I think the plan is they needed to get rid of Pushkin before they could do this deal that they're going to do with these diamonds because Pushkin had an investigation going on onto fucking Koskov, and so he needed to get rid of Pushkin before he could do this deal with the diamonds. Well, anyway, Whitaker gets a phone call and that, and it turns out like it's for Koskov and that where you found out in this scene that it was fucking what's the fucking name? Well, it was Koskov's bed anyway because Bond comes in and that, and she pours him a drink, and Bond like admits to her, I hadn't seen Koskov, and I'm a British agent, and I'm looking for him. And then she's like, "Well, I phoned him, and he told me you was a KGB agent wanting to take him back." Kara, yeah, that was it. Kara says like, Koff told that Bond was a KGB agent. Well, Bond by this time is getting drugged up and that, and he like realizes that she's drugged his drink. Where she sort of like has a bruise from where he shot the rifle, where he tells her that it was him who shot the rifle and that, and he only did it because he knew she was getting set up, sort of thing. Well, then Koskov comes in as a doctor and that, and fucking says, "Oh yeah, you've done great," and that. Fucking like, I love you and that. You're my sort of like best sort of fucking woman and that. Because he plays a right good where he gets on people's sort of like good side and that by giving them loads of compliments and that. Well, they put Bond in a fucking stretcher and that and put him in an ambulance and take him to like aeroplane to fucking make out like he's a donor transplant or whatever. He needs this heart getting put into him as soon as possible, and they're flying him to the nearest hospital or whatever that can do this operation. And the heart is in with the diamonds that are looking like ice sort of thing, where he gets sort of his bare Cara to fucking get dressed up as a nurse and that. Well, anyway, Bond wakes up on the plane and that, and opens the box and that, where the see that it's a animal's heart and it's not a human heart, but they're like diamonds, they're not ice around it, it's diamonds. So like they close the box and that, and then Kossoff comes through and that starts talking to James and that, saying, "Oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna take you sort of like back to like Russia and that," or he drops him off in Afghanistan to take him back to Russia because it's when Russia and was fighting in Afghanistan and that. So he said, "Oh yeah, we're going to take you to Afghanistan, drop you off in a military base there, sort of thing, to save trial for killing Pushkin." Oh, he fucking set him up to kill Pushkin. But anyway, Bond's sort of like airs his plan and that sort of fucking that. Yeah, he's gonna fucking tell everyone that, like, yeah, James Bond's fucking a crazy cunt who's trying to start World War Three, and I've fucking caught him, and I've saved Russia from fucking having to go out and find James Bond, and he wants sort of like a bit of a what do you call it? Oh, where he's let off for his crimes. Oh, see if the chat knows. Oh, chat though. Yeah, well, a bit behind, but yeah, this is one of them where it is a bit complicated, and it's all double crossing fucking shit. Like, oh, yeah. So the red shirt says, "I've always expected our friend Cockney was a Bond villain at heart." Ha 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 ha. Yeah, well, and LDG says, "Fujin Jens." Yeah. And so Red Shirt says, "I hope you're going to do both a Bond kill count and a Bond shag count at the end of the review." No, only the shag counts. I'm a lover, not a fighter. And LDG says, hey, yeah. Don't know. Oh, hey, yeah. Wow. But, and Cyril Red Shirt says at LDG, hey, pal, how's the world treating you? Uh, LG says, mother got into an accident today. That was fun. She's okay at least. Oh, that's good. That's here. Oh, well, no, says I hope as well. Don't mean an auto accident. Yeah. Fucking hell. It's like a Bond film here. Same idiot ran a stop sign. Well, that's never good. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, thanks. And Paul Jens put so much fucking effort into these fucking James Bond fucking reviews. A fucking shame, more fucking doing fucking here, fucking here, and fucking LDG. Yeah. Ah, well, who a minute. Back to this because this is fucking bit where it gets fucking actiony in that. But anyway, yeah, the land in that, and Bond gets took out, sort of thing, and then fucking get put in like a prison because he also says that Kara was a defector and needed to be um, arrested, and that as he tries to be nice by telling her he's going to send her to the opera sort of like gulag where she can play. But anyway, they get put into the prison where the guards are all like being a bit arsey to them because I think like they're sort of like prisoners and that, and trying to like go against Mother Russia. Well, the guard sort of like tells her to strip, but she won't, and then she like drops the like keychain and that like the guard picks up, and Bond sort of like whistles where it does the gas thing where it sort of like fucking fucks them up, and that where Timothy Dalton does a pretty good fight scene in that. I gotta say that where he like comes out with like beating the shower one, but obviously like because there's a few of them, and he's got like a bar, but in the end though, he like beats the crap out of one with a bit of help with one of the prisoners who was in one of the cells and that. Good fight scene and that. And then fucking sort of like escape, and they throw the keys to the prisoner. Or you find out later on he's part of the Mahadin who fucking helps him and that. But anyway, Bond then gets out and that, and he sees fucking Koskov putting the diamonds and that in a truck, where then fucking getting like a fucking stair thing that like fucking you use to get up into jumbo jets and that, where they drive to the fucking gates and like climb over the fence because they've got like the stairs and that, where then they get sort of like captured by the Mohammedan, where he jumps over because he's been following them and that, and he tells them like they're not Russian and that, and then they go back to the Mahdi camp and that, where Bond sort of like tells them, "Oh yeah, I want to fucking go back to the Russian air base that's in Afghanistan, where he just broke out of, to go and fuck up his deal and that, because he's dealing with arms and that are going to be used against the Afghanistans by the Russians. Well, like, they're not going to give it any men, but they sort him out with some stuff. But he goes back to talk to Kara, where Kara fucking is a bit gutted that Bond's going to go back to the Russian fucking, or risk his life to fuck up Kovskov's plan. But Bond gets in there and gives her a shag. So it's the two shagger, because it's a bit later on, because at night where they set off, and so the next day they're at this sort of place where the diamond fucking deal is going down, where Bond sort of like checks out the packaging that's like got crosses on. I'll show you, sort of thing. These bags here, they're like looking like medical supplies and that. And so Bond, he goes over to one of them and that, and he puts his knife in, and it's pure opium and that. And so he goes back to her and tells her and that. And then you see like the Russian convoy sort of like turning up with Coffin, who's got the diamonds and that. And Bond sort of like tells fucking the like prisoner dude who's the prince or whatever, maybe, I don't know, but he's one of the top sort of Mahdi members, but he's not the top one, because fucking he tells him like, oh yeah, well, they're selling the opium and that, but we can't like stop them until they've sold the opium, or else they'll kill us all, sort of thing. But Bond's like, right, well, once you've sold the opium, then we can fucking fuck them up, sort of thing, and that. Because then fucking Koskov and his mates sort of like sit down and that, and he brought the diamonds and that, where they do a trade, the diamonds for the opium and that, where fucking Bond sort of like pretends to be a helper in that, and takes the opium bags and starts stacking them. And like gets a bomb and like plants it in one of the fucking bags and that. And Kara looks on and that. And then Bond's still in the back, but they set off and that with all the opium. Where Kara's fucking saying, oh yeah, you got to help him and that. Where he's like, oh, he's on his own now. Then she gets his AK and just fucking rides off, where he's like, oh, fuck it, women. And then like rides off to help her, sort of thing. Where they get to the air base, where they unstacking the opium into this B-52, whatever it is, and then like Kara fucking sort of sees a guard who, as the guard's looking, the Mohammed Dean fighters sort of fucking beat him up and that. Then Bond gets out with the opium bag / sack, but filled with the bomb, and like fucking takes it onto the plane and that, and sets the timer like 10 minutes and that. Then as he's coming out though, he's spotted by fucking oh fuck, Koshkov, who's fucking with his mate and that, but Bond like just beats up a dude, grabs his AK, and starts shooting the shit out of everything and that, and so everyone like just fucking scatters and that, and then Koshkov tells him not to shoot back at Bond because they're gonna fuck up the plane, and he needs that plane to get out of there, and he's on a deadline sort of thing, and so he needs the plane. Well, then like fucking the Mohammedans like storming and that, start fucking blowing up shit. Where it's fucking pretty good fucking explosions and that. Real 80s explosions where they're using proper explosions. And like, as this is all going on, Bond gets into the cockpit of the plane and starts it up. And that fucking starts like to take off and that. And there's all fucking, yeah, as you can see by that screenshot, loads of explode. And that's just one screenshot and that. There's another screenshot that shows you a good fucking explosion. But fucking explosions and that. Fucking JCBs, you know, fucking diggers and that there's one of them that gets fucking used to block fucking gun bullets and then to scoop up grenades and then to fucking blow up this little gun sort of ditch thing that they're in, that these Russian guards are in and that. And yet, they even blow up a fucking oil tanker and that a Russian fucking guard and that fucking real good explosions. Well, anyway, Koskov and his henchmen are like fucking taking cover in that, where Kara had to kick a dude off who tried to grab her off a horse and that. Then she got mortared off her horse, so she jumps into a fucking Jeep and starts driving down the fucking runway and that, not giving a fuck, where she's like hitting people and that shit, where one of them's on the fucking windscreen. She puts the windscreen wipers on and fucking then slaps him off. Really sort of like played for the comedy element and that. And fucking, well, she gets to where fucking, I don't know, Koshkov and his mate jump on a Jeep, yeah, with a fucking turret and that, where fucking they like chase after her and that. Sort of like fucking shooting and that shit. where fucking she finally catches up to James and that, where he lowers the hangar bay where she drives up like Knight Rider sort of style into the hangar bay, where fucking another plane on the runway is coming down the other way, where Koshkov drives up alongside of the plane so his henchman mate can fucking jump on into the plane through the little hatch door. Well, then fucking bit corny where it explodes and that, where I don't think he would have survived the explosion, but he gets fucked up in that Koskov and has to jump out of the fucking Jeep because the other plane hits his Jeep, but Bond like flies over in that, gets like airborne and that, and like fucking goes to lock the little door thing hatch that was open, and he lets Kara in control of the plane, where you see fucking Koshkov's henchmen creep out of the Jeep where he was hiding, fucking start to strangle fucking Bond and that, where this is a fucking great scene and that. The stuntmen that did the stunts on this was fucking brave as fuck, because there was a bit with turbulence where it could have really fucked them up bad, but it didn't, like, because it would have been one of them where I'd have probably known about it. But anyway, yeah, Bond and that start fight. Well, Kara, she pulls the lever that opens the hatchway, the back hatch, that fucking they like start flying down it and that. Oh, this is a great scene in that, because then they're out on, like, it's just holding on by the sort of cord tights that they're like latched on, where they'd just release them for when it's to be dropped. But luckily enough, it hadn't been released, so they're still on the hatches and that, where all the opium bags are like like in it and that. And obviously, this is not Timothy Dalton or the other dude. It's like stuntmen all really out there doing this. And yeah, like a pretty good fight on it and that, where the bomb is still inside, but they're outside fighting and that. And then Bond sort of like climbs under in that, and then he like punches him sort of like when he climbs up, sort of thing. Then the henchman tries to stab Bond in the leg, but Bond moves, and so he stabs one of the opium bags, and Bond kicks him in the face. Real good move. And that. Then gets the knife and starts booting the henchman and that, who's like holding on and that. And then cuts the bags and that, so all the bags are flying out. I say, whoever finds them, there's, I think, 5 million's worth, because there's a few million at stake here and that. Yeah, so they're all getting like emptied and that, where the dude then grabs Bond's boot or foot and that, where Bond sort of like cuts his shoelaces open, and then that the boot sort of like slips off and that, and the dude sort of like flies off holding the boot, where I'll zoom in. Like, shit! I got his boot, but I got his para boot, but now I'm gonna fall to my death. Which he does. You don't see it, but he ain't got a parachute and that. There's a bit where the turbulence throws fucking the stunt dude up and that, where it, like Bond looks like he's being thrown back onto the platform and that by the turbulence. Well, he gets up, turns the back hatch thing, closes it, and that. Then he hears a ticking of the bomb and that, where he's like hunting around, but he finally finds it in that, where there's like 4 seconds left. But luckily enough, he turns it off with like 1 second left. Then he sees the Abdeen sort of fucking fighters getting chased by Russian tanks and that, which another explosions again. Okay, real good explosions and that shit. So, did you know Christopher Reid turned down an offer from Albert Broccoli to play Bond in this film? Also, Sam Neill auditioned for Bond, and Diana and Barbara Broccoli liked it, but Albert Broccoli didn't. No, Christopher Reeves, no. Although, yeah, I remember there would have been a few people auditioning for Bond and that at this time, because it was where it was like, right, we need a new Bond, because fucking Roger Moore, he's definitely done his final Bond. Because I know that there was a few auditions for A View to a Kill, because no, if Roger Moore was going to do A View to a Kill. But yeah. But Christopher Reid, he'd done all right Bond if he could have got the British accent. And Sunrise says Sean Bean was also considered, as was Mel Gibson, but Albert Broccoli voted Mel because vetoed Mel because he wasn't British. Yeah, well, yeah, I know. Sean Bean wanted to be Bond because he auditioned and he played 006, didn't he, in GoldenEye? But yeah. But yeah, a few people there. Yeah, so back to the story and that. So yeah, the bombing the shit out of the Mohammed Dean sort of thing, where Bond, he tells like Kara to hold the plane whilst they like fly over them and then fly back past them, where they get to the bridge part and the tanks are on it, where Bond throws the bomb out with the 10-second, because he's put a 10-second fuse on it, even though it's an electrical fuse, but there's a 10-second fuse on it, that he drops it off onto the tanks that blow it and blow the bridge and take the tanks out and that. Now he Gene's all celebrating that. And then notice the fuel gauge is flashing where they're being shot in the fuel tanks, and it's pouring like fuel out and that. And so they get to a stage where the engine's cut out. So then Bond tells Kara to get into the back of the Jeep, where he pulls the he like aims it towards a bit where, because there's no landing there, even though there was when they do it, because they couldn't do it dangerously. But you've got to imagine that there's not enough runway to land, and there's only a bit where they can just touch down. So tells her to get into the Jeep, where he pulls the parachute and that, where it flies out and that. And as it's pulling the Jeep back, Bond gets into the Jeep and it pulls the Jeep out of the plane and like lands and that, and fucking sort of like skids on and fucking smashes through a wall and takes off the parachute bit that it had underneath it, which was convenient. And then the plane crashes into the side of the mountain. And then Bond sees the sign where it says so many miles to Karachi, where fucking Bond's like, oh yeah, I know a good fucking restaurant there. And they drive off. Where then you see Bond infiltrating Whitaker's house, and that Felix Leiter there scanning the place, telling him where the guards are. Like Bond knocks out a guard, and that fucking makes him sort of like into his bitch, and then like carries him off and probably plants him somewhere so he can get into the building, where you see Whitaker fucking playing with his toy soldiers. And this is where fucking Captain Cockney, Mighty Spock, would fucking love this, because he's got all the fucking effects in that. And he's got like a remote control to like set off bombs and guns and sound and all that shit. Where then Bond sort of like ghosts in and that with a gun, and he's all like, right, I know fucking Koskov's here. I want Koskov so I can fucking like take him to the KGB and that, and let them deal with him a bit, because he's got a bit personal now. Well, anyway, Whitaker, he's all like, well, I want my $5 or $50 million worth of opium. And Bond's like, oh, well, that's gone, sort of thing. So then Whitaker's all like, well, you can't sort of fucking have Koskov sort of thing. And then he plays with toy soldiers and presses it on one of the buttons on the remote that brings out a drawer that hits Bond in his legs, that pushes him to the ground, where Whiskey, this is a pretty good bit, where he gets a like Uzi out, just starts shooting the shit out of the room and that, where Bond, he sort of like gets well out of there before into some cover and that before like too much bullets are flying. Then like he gets into a room and that, and like fucking Whisker turns off. Whitaker turns off the sound and that, so you can't like air much and that. It's all silent, and that's like an air Bond where he like comes out with a machine gun and armored like face shield where Bond shoots at it, but it's armored and that, and he's got armored clothing on, bulletproof out and that. Where then he just starts shooting loads and that. Where Bond gets into a room where he puts that little keyring chain on the back of a George Wellington statue, where Whitaker then starts to like say, "Oh yeah, you got behind Wellington that vulture," he calls it. He was like, "Oh yeah." Then to wind it Bond up, he's like, "Oh yeah, did you know Wellington in used German mercenaries to beat Napoleon at Waterloo and that, where Bond does the like wolf whistle, so like sort of thing, and that, where Whitaker's like, oh, a bit surprised and that. Well, the keyring chain explodes where it makes the statue on Colosseum sort of thing fall onto Whitaker, where it smashes him and that, and it kills him. And bit of irony, it kills him on the Waterloo, Battle of Waterloo soldier sort of battlefield he did. Where then like a soldier's going to shoot Bond, but Pushkin, because he wasn't dead, he had the bulletproof armor and that, comes in, shoots the guard and that, says he owed Bond that. And then they get Koshkov out of the room that he was staying in at Whitaker's and that, where he's all like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're alive, Pushkin," and that. "I thought you was dead, but I'm so glad to see you alive." Where he starts to hug him and that, and Pushkin sort of like hugs him and says, "Oh yeah, I'm glad to see you are alive," and that. he like does a like smile to Bond to say, "Oh yeah, I've slammed my way back into out of this one." Where then Pushkin tells Koskov that he's going to have a trip back to Russia or Moscow, but in a body bag. Where Koskov just gets dragged out with a look of "oh shit" on his face. Then oh, Pushkin, General Pushkin, he's talking to Bond about Kara and that, and Bond's like, "Oh well, what are you gonna do with her?" And they're like, "Oh, we'll talk about it," sort of thing. And then you see Kara some kind of orchestral sort of performance where you see the bullet hole that got shot when there was bobsleighing down the mountain, like on a ski sort of thing slope. And then M's there and talking to Gorgoth. Oh, then the dude comes in who's all like, "Oh yeah, I won't miss this performance and that." Gorgo tells her like, "Oh yeah, fucking, we're gonna give you a visa and that, and so you can visit other countries and that." Well, she's like chuffed and that, and she goes back where Bond's there, does the whistle on the keychain where she knows he's there, and gets like kissing her and that because he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm here for a bit of fucking nookie." And then credits come up where a song plays where I forgot it was. It's not the Living Daylights song. Not the greatest. Maybe that's sort of like where it's like, oh yeah, the slipping of the Bond, but ends with James Bond will return with vodka martinis, and it's obviously it didn't say it, but James Bond returns in License to Kill, which is gonna be next week's review. Hey, oh, falling behind the chat here. Oh. So the Red Shirt says Lee Van Cleef was also considered for the role of Brad Whitaker. Right, yeah, he could have played a good Brad Whitaker, yeah. And yeah, Tommy, do some guinea pig trailer. There's greetings. Yeah. So the Red Shirt says, "Hey, Tommy and the guinea pig collectors, how's well been treating you, brother?" So Red Shirt, got a bad red broken back, yeah. Well, yeah, hope you're alright, Tommy, and that man. Yeah. It's Courtney, says hi, Jens. Yeah, hi, Courtney. Yeah, he says hi to Tommy and to the red shirt. And so I see no one except myself and Docs. Right. Well, we're here. That's the end of fucking A View to Kill. Well, great film, like, as I say. Got loads of action in that. Plotline's a bit fucking complex a bit. Because, yeah, I watched it enough to, so like, yeah, I got got a bit sort of thingy myself, just reading it out, and I've got it written down. Mm. Well, so yeah, great film. One of them films where the action in it is full of explosions. So yeah, you like explosions. View to Living Daylights. It's a film well worth watching. Well, thanks to Courtney showing up in that. Thanks to Tommy showing up. Thanks to LGD. Thanks to Son of a Red Shirt. Thanks to George Lucas and all. And yeah, and thanks to Pop Culture Creator for being here watching the Bond review of The Living Daylights, which I say, great film. So yeah, I'll be doing another stream hopefully next week with License to Kill, which has got my second favourite theme tune of the Bonds, I've got to say. Of the official ones, sort of thing. Yeah. Well, thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.